Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk picked in the video today, and today we're going to be talking about a potential trade for the Houston Astros, as this is going to be the first video I do for the Houston Astros, and about the MLB trade deadline. And these two guys I'm going to be talking about in this video are two players the Astros are expected to be targeting in free agent. These are two guys the Astros have targeted in free agency before. Marcus Stroman, a guy who the Astros targeted, and not last free agency, but the free agency before that, when he was a free agent. It was when he was a free agent when the lockout happened, when the lockout was over, and he was a free agent then. I think he was on the Mets, and then he signed with the Cubs. The Astros had a lot of interest in him that year when the Astros wanted to add in some starting pitching, and didn't happen though. And then this year in free agency, the Astros were interested in Cody Bellinger. So we're going to be talking about a trade for the Houston Astros that would send Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger to the Houston Astros. Now, it sounds crazy, but I think this happens? Maybe. I honestly think it really could. I do think the Astros are going to have an interest in both players, and I think the Astros probably have a little bit of interest in Cody Bellinger and a lot of interest in Marcus Stroman. And with the Yordan Alvarez injury and it looking like he could be maybe missing a lot of time, it's going to make the Astros' interest in Cody Bellinger even more. And I could see the Astros I really could see the Astros still being interested in Cody Bellinger if it turns out, okay, Yordan Alvarez is okay, he's going to be all right, because Cody Bellinger can do so much for this team. He can play left field, he can play center, he can, if Jose Abreu doesn't, turn out to do better in the lineup, Cody Bellinger could move to first base. I'm just throwing that out there. He doesn't do it often, but he can do it. And I know Astros fans don't want to hear this, but let's just say the worst. Let's say Yordan's going to miss 2 to 4 months, which I don't want that to happen. No one wants that to happen, but that could be the reality. Yordan's injury, it's a oblique, I think, is the injury he has. But the injury he has, he's on the 10-day IL, but I don't really see him missing less than 2 months. And it probably could end up turning into more of that, maybe 3, or then it becomes 3, then it'll become 3.5, then it'll become 4, and then next thing you'll know, he'll need surgery. That's the way I'm thinking this is going to go for Yordan Alvarez. I don't want it to happen. I'm praying it doesn't happen. I'm going to be honest, sometimes I go to bed at night praying Yordan Alvarez will be okay, because I think that is unless we make some magical trade, if Yordan's out for the year, we might be effed. But this is a trade that I think the Astros would be really interested in doing if Yordan Alvarez is out for a long time. Now, the really bad thing about doing this trade where you're getting both Marcus Stroman and Cody Bellinger is both are free agents. Now, I do think it would be really easy to re-sign Marcus Stroman, and I honestly think Marcus Stroman would re-sign. I think would be able to re-sign maybe even, I don't know. I was thinking maybe even you could possibly re-sign him before, maybe you could even extend him before, actual free agency starts. I think he would be very willing to stay with the Houston Astros. And so you re-sign Marcus Stroman. I think that could obviously definitely happen, but I don't know about Cody Bellinger. I feel like Cody Bellinger, he's a great player, but I feel like Cody Bellinger is a rental. You just think about how many good upcoming outfielders the Astros have. Eventually, Cody Bellinger is not going to want to sign a long-term deal here with Drew Gilbert coming up in probably most likely 2024. Kyle Tucker, eventually Drew Gilbert's going to come up. Even though Yordan Alvarez was hurt this year, even if Yordan misses the whole year, he'll be back next year. If he misses the whole year, Yordan Alvarez. So Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Drew Gilbert, other guys like Jake Myers and Corey Jokes, Chas McCormick if he doesn't get traded. So, I mean, potentially Michael Brantley if they re-sign him again. So I don't really see a reason why Cody Bellinger would re-sign with the Astros. Now, Marcus Stroman, I think he would definitely re-sign with the Astros. But Cody Bellinger, you're bringing him in for help, for good hitter, good outfielder, for if Yordan Alvarez is out for a while. And let's talk about, Cody Bellinger before I get into stats for Bellinger and Stroman, let's talk about what a trade would look like. Now, I think this is a cheaper trade than others because for getting a starting pitcher, like I know the Astros are interested in other guys like Shane Bieber and Corbin Burns, other guys. They're going to be more expensive because they're not free agents. Now, Marcus Stroman on the other end is not going to be as expensive as a guy like Corbin Burns or Shane Bieber. Number one, he's not as good as them. But number two, he's a free agent. Same thing for Cody Bellinger. He's not going to be worth, as much as he would normally be if he was not an expiring contract. So the Astros aren't going to have to give that much. The Astros would probably have to give up a haul for these two if they weren't expiring contracts. But here's the deal I have happening to land Cody Bellinger and Marcus Stroman in Houston. The Astros send Chas McCormick, JP France, and a single A player, Miguel Palma. And I know that seems random, but it will make sense once I go over the trade. I'm gonna start with Miguel Palma. He's an amazing prospect. He's the 28th prospect for the Astros. He's 21 years old. And here are two positions the Cubs rely on the most: catcher and first baseman. They're not going to get anything from him this year because he's like a 2024, 2025 call-up. But the talent this guy has hitting-wise and catcher and first baseman as both playing both, I think he'd be great on the Cubs eventually, either in 2024 or 2025. Most likely the 2025. He would be a great player for the Chicago Cubs. Let's talk about his stats in single A so far this season. 300 batting average 309, 5 home runs and 26 RBIs and 852 OPS. He's doing great in the minors, and he's 21 years old. He's been playing with the Astros since he was 17 years old. He signed here when I think he just turned 17 because he was playing for the Astros single A or something at like 17 or 18 years old, and that was in like the 2019 season, and he signed here in 2018. So I mean, he came here young. So he's a good player, and eventually in 2024, 2025, he'll make his major league debut. I don't really think on the Astros he would make his major league debut. But I think the Astros are going to eventually, if it's either this year or it's the next trade deadline, I think there's probably a very small chance he gets moved this year for the Astros in the deadline. But I think there's a really, really solid chance he gets moved next year at the deadline because if not next year, this year eventually he'll make the move to Double A. I would honestly bet more that it's probably that before this year's over, then the start of next year he's in Double A, and I don't know. I think that he's a really solid player, and eventually either this year or if not this year, next year the Astros are going to use his trade leverage. And why not do it now with the Chicago Cubs as a team who needs a catcher, needs a first baseman? He provides both, and he's a good hitter as well. So. I know he's very young, but that's the first trade asset I have going over. And then JP France. Young kid, he's 28 years old. He started 7 games for the Astros this season. Has been doing really solid, not great. He's 2-1 on the year. 7 starts with 40 innings pitched and a 3.54 ERA. Has struck out 35 batters and given up only 15 walks in his 7 starts, and has given up 37 hits with a 1.28 whip. He's only 7 starts in. He was drafted in 2018. He showed some good stuff, but at the same time, he's had some struggles. More, I think, probably a little bit of more struggles than goods. But his first couple starts were really nice. First couple 2 or 3 starts were really nice. He's had a couple decent starts in the between of his first 2 starts and last couple starts that have been good. And he's done really solid, and the Cubs need good pitching, and he could add to the rotation. Him going into the Chicago Cubs is not like it's not like Miguel Palma. This guy JP France, he's going to be a starter there right away, and he's going to be a really solid pitcher for them in the future. And then Chas McCormick, left fielder, center fielder, and right fielder, plays all outfield. Has had a really solid season with us. He's 28 years old as well, 240 batting average this season with 5 home runs and 16 RBIs. He's only played 31 games, and not every one of those games he has started in. So, yeah, he's been really solid. 25 hits. He's been hitting the ball really hard this season. Lots of doubles for Chas this year. So, Chas has been doing amazing this year for the Astros. So, I think he'd added in a lot to the Cubs lineup. And that's basically it. I mean, if you have to add anything else, I mean, I guess you could add in Joe Perez, who's a third baseman / right fielder. I think he plays second and third in right field, and he's in AAA. He's played for the majors a couple times. He's been in the majors a couple times for the Astros, and he's like our 14th or 13th best prospect on the pipeline. So, I mean, I don't really think you're going to have to add in Joe Perez, but if you have to, you will. But I think Chas McCormick, a guy who has 5 home runs and 16 RBIs with a 240 batting average and only 30 games. JP France, who started 7 games with a 3.54 ERA, and Miguel Palmas, who has an unbelievable future and plays 2 positions the Cubs need really badly, would be enough for 2 expiring contracts. Marcus Stroman would add to the rotation, be amazing. The Astros need. I know the Astros have good pitchers, but they need some more pitching. They really do, because view the starting pitchers they have right now. Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, and Hunter Brown. All 3 of those guys will be. I'm not talking about the regular season. I'm talking about the postseason. Those 3 guys will be helpful to the postseason. I don't know if I really see, even though, we're talking to, let's say JP France doesn't get traded, I don't see guys like JP France and Brandon Bielak being starters throughout the postseason, being guys that are able to provide starts during the postseason. And even though you have Lance McCullers Jr. and Jose Urquidy alongside Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, and Christian Javier, and that's 5 starters, and you really only need 4 starters during the postseason. But I think in the postseason you need 4 starters and then like 2 starters off the bullpen, basically. And honestly, in my opinion, I think it's too dangerous to not have another really capable starting arm next to the current guys, if all healthy, with McCullers and Urquidy, because those 2 guys could have some more injury problems. And I don't think that is something the Astros should probably have to fear. Because if you have the rotation being Framber, Christian Javier, Jose Urquidy, Marcus Stroman at 3, Jose Urquidy at 4, Lance McCullers Jr. at 5, Hunter Brown at 6, that's the rotation. Hunter Brown will come off the bullpen in the playoffs. Either Urquidy or Stroman will come off the bullpen, and then everybody else will start. So in that case, you have 6 starters. Once everybody's healthy, you'll go with a 6-man rotation. But I think when you have guys like Lance McCullers Jr. and Jose Urquidy, who have had a lot of injury problems in the past, you kind of need a 6-man rotation. I mean, just Lance itself, you need a 6-man rotation when you have Lance McCullers Jr. on your team, because out of nowhere, he'll get injured in the playoffs. And the Astros definitely need to add in help at starting pitcher, even though they have 5 starters. Once everybody is healthy, once McCullers and Urquidy are healthy, and then after those 5 starters, they have Bielak and France. I still think they need to add in another guy, get rid of France, and get a more capable guy, like if it's either Stroman or it's Burns, or it's, if not Burns, Bieber. Add in somebody to this rotation I think you really got to add in another arm. With Luis Garcia going down, him being out for the season, and not only that, but the questions about Lance McCullers Jr.'s health, his health, and Urquidy's health once they come back, and some of the other young guys that it might be hard to rely on in the postseason. Like I love Hunter Brown, but Hunter Brown, it could be difficult for him in the postseason. Same thing for J.P. France and Brandon Bielak. So I think the Texans. What the hell am I thinking? I think the Astros need to add in another arm during the deadline. Whether it's Stroman, whether it's Burns, whether it's Bieber, it needs to be somebody. And in this case, if Jordan's going to be out for a while, get two needs in one. Both are expiring contracts. I know you don't want to get two expiring contracts, but once everybody gets back healthy for 2024, it's not really like you're going to need either one of these guys. You might need Stroman next season. It might be great to re-sign Stroman, but it's not going to really be a problem if he doesn't re-sign. So, I mean, you don't have to give up as much for these two guys who are not expiring contracts. Bellinger's been hitting great. Honestly, if Jordan's going to be out for a while, and it seems like Lance McCullers Jr. and Urquidy are going to be out for a while, I think this is a no-brainer for the Astros. Use them your thoughts on the trade idea. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Astros.